I'm Olivia Sterling, 28 years old now. 13 years back, during a fierce October storm, my father locked eyes with me and said, "Leave. I don't need a sick daughter like you." At 15, drenched and with nowhere to turn, that was my reality. The cause? A calculated, intentional lie told by my younger sister, accepted by my parents without hesitation. Just like that, I ceased to exist in their eyes. Hours later, the police contacted them from the hospital. I had been struck by a car. When Dad entered the room and saw who sat beside me, his hands trembled uncontrollably. You shouldn't be here." "How did you?" The woman there was Dr. Eleanor Smith, a highly esteemed professor statewide. She had discovered me on the roadside and saved my life. That evening altered everything. Last month, I stood unexpectedly as the keynote speaker at my sister's graduation. My parents had no clue I was coming. But before I share how they reacted, please take a moment to like and subscribe, only if you truly appreciate this story. Also, I'd love to hear where you're watching from and what time it is there, so leave a comment below. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. From an early age, I understood that in our home, Madison's tears always drowned out my successes. When I was 11, I won first prize at the regional science fair with my water filtration project, beating 40 other participants. I was ecstatic. Bursting through the door, clutching my blue ribbon, I found Mom in the kitchen. "I won," I shouted. She smiled, embraced me. "That's wonderful, sweetheart." Shortly after, Madison returned from dance practice, 8 years old, flushed and crying. I messed up my pirouette. Everyone laughed. Mom's arms left me, kneeling to hold Madison close. "Oh, baby, it's okay. You'll do better next time." I stood there, ribbon in hand. No one asked to see it. That was the pattern. Madison needed more attention. Madison was fragile. Madison required delicate care. I learned to celebrate quietly, to demand less, to shrink myself. By 14, I stopped showing my report cards. Straight A's didn't compete against Madison's B drama. When I got accepted to a prestigious summer science camp, a full scholarship for 2 weeks working with real researchers on environmental science, I was thrilled. Dad barely looked up from his phone. "That's nice, Olivia." Madison burst into tears. "Why does she get to go away? It's not fair." Mom placed a hand on Madison's shoulder. "Olivia, maybe you should skip this year." "Your sister needs. I need you here," Madison finished. I never attended the camp. They couched it as family unity, understanding, being magnanimous. I learned to be small, silent, compliant. But the breaking point loomed. I just didn't realize it would come during a storm. The lies began subtly. Madison, now 12, started borrowing my things without permission. When I gently mentioned it, she always denied it. "I never touched your sweater," even when it lay plainly on her bed. Mom sighed. "Olivia, don't start fights." Then money disappeared from Mom's wallet, $50 gone. Madison claimed she saw me near the purse that morning, which wasn't true. I had left for school early. Dad called me into his study. "Did you take money from your mother?" "No, Madison says you did. Madison's lying." His jaw tightened. "Don't accuse your sister." I said nothing more. "Enough," his voice cut in. "I'm disappointed in you, Olivia. I thought you were better than this." I lost my phone for a month, and the promised science camp opportunity the next summer vanished. "We can't trust you to be independent right now," Mom said. Madison watched from the stairs, smiling when our parents weren't looking. That $50 was just a trial run. Madison was learning she could get away with anything. The pattern worsened. A broken vase was my fault. A test Madison failed. I should have helped her more. Rumors at school about Madison cheating on a quiz. I must have started them. I stopped defending myself. What was the point? They always believed her tears over my truth. By 15, I felt like a ghost in my own home. Present but unseen. Only there to be blamed. I spent more time at the library, at school, anywhere but home. I told myself I just had to survive till college. 2 more years. I could make it. I was wrong. October, junior year. That week felt unbearably heavy. There was a boy in AP chemistry named Jake, a nice guy, terrible at balancing equations. He'd asked me for homework help a few times. I stayed after class to explain stoichiometry. That was all just homework help. Madison had a huge crush on him. She'd walk past my classroom just to see him. Practiced writing Madison's Sterling Walker in her diary. I'd once glimpsed it when returning a borrowed pen. On Tuesday, Jake found me at my locker. "Hey, thanks for the help yesterday." "You really saved me," I smiled. "No problem. Maybe we could study together for the midterm." "Sure." "Library works." He walked away, and I glanced down the hall. Madison stood about 20 feet away, staring, pale. That night at dinner, she barely spoke, pushing food around her plate. Mom kept asking if she felt okay. Madison shrugged, silent. I should have known her silence was more threatening than her tears. Thursday, a visiting lecturer came to biology class. Dr. Eleanor Smith from State University. She spoke about educational equity research. I stayed after to ask questions. She seemed impressed. "You have a curious mind," she said, handing me her card. "Don't let anyone dim that light." I smiled, thanked her, unaware she'd save my life a week later. Friday, storm warnings blared. A big one was coming. People prepared, stocked up, secured their homes. Madison still refused to speak to me, wouldn't even make eye contact. I thought, at least I'll have the weekend to focus on homework. I had no clue what she was planning. Friday evening, rain began around 6. We ate quietly as the weather alert pinged on Dad's phone. Wind advisories, flood warnings. Tension hung in the air. Madison picked at her pasta, her eyes on me. When I met her gaze, she looked away. After dinner, I retreated to my room to start English homework. Outside, wind howled and rain pounded the windows, the kind of storm that makes you thankful to be indoors. Around 8, I heard crying downstairs, loud, sobbing. "Madison." I froze, set down my pen, listened. Mom's voice, soothing, "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Talk to me." More crying. I waited, thinking maybe she'd twisted an ankle, failed another test, maybe Olivia. Dad's voice snapped, sharp and angry. "Get down here now." My stomach sank as I descended slowly, each step heavier than the last. Madison sat on the couch, face buried in Mom's shoulder. Mom stroked her hair. Dad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, face flushed. "What's going on?" I asked. Madison looked up, eyes swollen, tears streaming. For a fleeting moment, less than a second, I saw something behind those tears, a coldness. Then it vanished. "Tell her what you told us." Dad's voice was ice. Madison's lip quivered. "Why do you hate me so much?" "What?" I stepped closer. "I don't hate you." "Then why?" she hiccuped, sobbing. "Why have you been spreading rumors about me at school?" My mind went blank. "What rumors?" "About me and Jake, about me cheating on that quiz, about me being a liar." The floor shifted beneath me. "Madison, I never." "Don't lie to her," Mom interrupted quietly. "Just don't." I didn't understand what she meant, but I was about to find out, and it would cost me everything. "I didn't spread any rumors," I stammered, voice trembling. "I don't know what you're talking about." Madison pulled out her phone, hands shaking, and showed Mom a screenshot from a group chat, messages supposedly from me, vicious and cruel about Madison, things I would never say. But there was my name, my profile picture. "I didn't write those," I said. "Someone's hacked my account." "Stop," Dad's voice thundered, breaking. "Just stop lying." "I'm not, and Jake," Madison whispered. You knew I liked him, but you've been flirting with him, trying to make me look stupid. He asked me for chemistry help. That's all. That's all. Madison's voice rose. You've been staying after class with him, meeting at the library. He told his friend, he thinks you're pretty. We're study partners. You tried to steal him from me. Madison stood. And last week, you pushed me on the stairs. She rolled up her sleeve, revealing a dark purple bruise on her forearm. I stared. I never touched you. You did, Mom. She did. I hesitated, afraid to say anything, thinking maybe Madison was just stressed. But Mom stood, stepping between us. Olivia, this is serious. If you hurt your sister, I didn't. Then how did she get that bruise? Dad demanded. I don't know. Maybe she did it to herself. The words hung thick in the air. Madison's eyes widened, fresh tears welling. You think I'd hurt myself just to frame you? Yes, I shouted, desperation breaking through. Because you do this. You lie. You've been lying about me for years. Dad took a step toward me. Is this true, Olivia? You've been bullying your sister, making her life miserable. No. God, no. Please just listen. I've heard enough. Enough. Dad's fist slammed on the mantel. I've heard enough of your excuses. They're not excuses. Please just let me explain. There's nothing to explain. Mom's voice was quiet, disappointed. I thought we raised you better than this. Madison sobbed into her hands, the perfect picture of a victim. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for a moment she looked back. And she wasn't crying anymore. Her eyes were dry, calculating. You're lying, I said, barely a whisper. I'm not, she said, and her voice didn't shake. You are. You made all of this up. Olivia, Mom started, she's lying. I turned to Dad. Please, you have to believe me. I would never hurt her. I would never spread rumors. She's doing this because she's jealous, because Jake doesn't like her, because that's it. Dad's voice went cold, flat. I don't want to hear another word from you. You're sick. Something's wrong with you. The word hit like a slap. Sick. I'm not. You need help. Professional help. But right now, he pointed to the door, right now I need you out of my sight. The rain was pounding outside. Thunder shook the windows. Dad, it's storming. I don't care. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem, his face twisted. Get out. I don't need a sick daughter like you in this house. The words carved into me, sick daughter, like I was diseased, broken, wrong. I looked at Mom, begging silently, say something, stop him. Tell him this is insane. She turned away, kept her arm around Madison. I grabbed my jacket from the hook. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely zip it. The door slammed behind me. Through the window, I could see Madison watching me leave. She wasn't crying anymore. She was smiling. The rain hit me like a wall, cold, angry. Within seconds, I was soaked through. I stood on the porch for a moment, waiting. Maybe Dad would come after me, apologize, say he'd overreacted. The door stayed closed. I started walking. Nowhere to go, just away. Away from that house, away from Madison's lies, away from parents who believed I was sick. My phone buzzed. Low battery, 8%. I pulled it out, tried calling my friend Sarah. No answer. Jessica, straight to voicemail. It was Friday night. Everyone was home with their families. Safe, dry, not me. The wind whipped my hair into my face. Rain came down in sheets. I could barely see 10 feet ahead. Cars drove past, spraying water from puddles. No one stopped. I headed toward the library. Maybe I could wait out the storm there. It was closed. Dark windows, locked doors. The bus station was 2 miles away. If I could make it there, I could sit inside, stay warm, figure out what to do. I walked. Every step was heavy. My shoes were soaked through, water squelching with each footfall. My jacket clung to my skin. I was so cold my teeth chattered. Thunder cracked overhead. Lightning split the sky. I thought about turning back, knocking on the door, begging to come home. The look on Dad's face, the disgust. I couldn't unsee it. Sick daughter. Maybe he was right. Maybe something was wrong with me. Why else would my own family choose Madison over me every single time? The bus station was still a mile away. The rain got heavier. The wind stronger. I didn't see the headlights until it was almost too late. I was crossing at an intersection. The light was green. I'm sure it was green. But the rain was coming down so hard, and the wind was howling, and I couldn't see clearly. The car came out of nowhere. Headlights, bright and blinding, a horn blaring, brakes screeching. I tried to jump back, wasn't fast enough. The impact threw me sideways. I felt my body hit the hood. Then the pavement, hard. My head cracked against the asphalt. Pain exploded through my skull, white hot and all-consuming. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Rain poured into my mouth, my eyes. Everything was sideways, wrong. I heard a car door slam, footsteps running, splashing through water. Oh my God, oh my God. A woman's voice, panicked. Sweetheart, can you hear me? I tried to answer, nothing came out. Don't move, just stay still. I'm calling 911. Her hands were on my shoulder. Gentle. Stay with me, okay? What's your name? I blinked, tried to focus. Her face was blurry, dark hair, rain streaming down her cheeks. She looked familiar. Had I seen her before? My parents, I managed. My voice was barely a whisper. Your parents, okay. What's their number? I'll call them. They don't, I coughed, tasted blood. They don't want me. Her face changed. What? They kicked me out. The words felt heavy. Said I'm sick, don't want me anymore. She stared at me, rain pouring down between us. I saw something shift in her expression, recognition maybe, or horror. You're going to be okay, she said. But her voice shook. I promise, you're going to be okay. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. The woman's face was the last thing I saw before everything went black. I don't remember the ambulance, don't remember arriving at the hospital. My first clear memory is sound. Beeping machines, fluorescent lights buzzing, the smell of antiseptic. And a voice. The woman from the accident. She has a severe concussion, possible internal bleeding. You need to keep her for observation. I tried to open my eyes, too heavy, everything hurt. I'm staying. That same voice, firm now, not panicked anymore. I'm not leaving her alone. Ma'am, are you family? I'm the one who hit her with my car. I'm staying until her parents arrive. Time passed. I drifted in and out. Voices came and went. At some point I heard new voices, familiar ones. We're Olivia Sterling's parents. Dad, he sounded strained. Mr. and Mrs. Sterling, the woman's voice again, cold now, professional. I'm Dr. Alina Smith. A pause, recognition clicking. You're a professor at the State University, Mom said. I am, Dean of Graduate Studies, actually. Her tone could cut glass. I'm the one who hit your daughter with my car tonight. It was an accident, Dad said quickly. We don't blame. She ran across the road, in the middle of a storm. She was soaking wet. Alone. At night. Doctor. Smith's voice rose. She was 15 years old. Why was she out there? Silence. Mr. Sterling, I asked you a question. We had a family situation. A discipline issue. A discipline issue. Doctor. Smith repeated the words slowly. What kind of discipline issue involves putting a child out in a storm? We did. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Because your daughter told me something before she lost consciousness. She said her parents didn't want her anymore. She said you told her she was sick. More silence. You're lying. Madison's voice. Small. Scared. Olivia's making that up. She was barely conscious. She wasn't making anything up. I heard footsteps, someone walking away from my bed, doctor. Smith's voice further now. I need to speak with a social worker. Nah. That won't be necessary. Dad's voice, trying to sound authoritative, failing. We're her parents. We'll handle this from here. With all due respect, sir, you've handled it enough. This is a private family matter. The moment you sent a minor out in a storm, it stopped being private. Doctor. Smith's footsteps came back. I felt her hand on mine, warm, protective. I'm not leaving until I know she's safe. A different voice now. A police officer. Mr. Sterling, we need to ask some questions. We haven't done anything wrong, Mom said, but her voice was shaking. Your daughter was hit by a car at 11 p.m. in a major storm. She's 15 years old. We need to understand why she wasn't home. I tried to open my eyes, managed to flutter them. Everything was blurry, shapes moving. I saw Dad's silhouette, Madison behind him. Doctor. Smith noticed. She's waking up, everyone out now. She's our daughter, Dad started. And I'm the doctor in this room. Out. Footsteps fading. The door closed. I felt Doctor. Smith leaned closer. Her hand squeezed mine gently. You're safe now, she whispered. I promise you're safe. I wanted to believe her, but safe was a foreign word. I hadn't felt safe in years. I closed my eyes again. Let the darkness take me. When I woke up 3 days later, my parents were gone. Doctor. Smith was still there. Dee kept her promise. She hadn't left me alone. The concussion was severe. I spent 4 days in the hospital. Doctor. Smith came every day, brought books, sat by my bed, talked to me about college, about science, about futures I'd never imagined. My parents visited once, brought a bag of clothes, some schoolwork. They stood at the foot of my bed, uncomfortable. Strangers in hospital scrubs. We're glad you're okay, Mom said. Dad nodded. You gave us quite a scare. Neither said sorry, neither explained, neither asked if I wanted to come home. Madison didn't come at all. On day 5, a social worker came. Her name was Rita. She had kind eyes and asked questions in a gentle voice. About my home, my family. What happened that night, I told her everything. Madison's lies, my parents choosing her. The words, sick daughter. Rita listened, took notes. Olivia, you have options. You don't have to go back. Where else would I go, doctor? Smith knocked on the door, stepped in. She could stay with me. I stared at her. What? Foster placement, temporary until we figure out something permanent. If you want, she looked at Rita, I've already started the paperwork. Why would you do that? My voice cracked. You don't really know who I am. Those words hung in the air as doctor. Smith perched on the side of my bed. Because once upon a time, someone did the same for me. When I was 17, my family cast me out. A teacher stepped in, becoming my refuge, my turning point. She reached out, touched my hand gently. Olivia, you're brilliant. You possess a potential that most kids can't even imagine. Don't let anyone convince you that you're broken. Don't let anyone dim your light. I couldn't stop the tears from falling. I understand if you want to go back home, she whispered, but if you want a different path, I'm here. That hospital room was where I made my choice to choose differently. Half a year later, I was transformed. Same name, entirely new existence. Elena doctor. Smith insisted I call her by her first name. Lived in a quiet, tidy house filled with books, plants, and soft classical melodies. She offered me the guest room, telling me to decorate it however I wished. I switched schools and hit reset. No one knew about Madison, about my parents, about the label of the sick daughter. I was simply Olivia, intelligent, driven, and finally able to breathe freely. Alina introduced me to worlds I hadn't seen before: university lectures, research conferences, dinners with professors discussing policy, equity, and change. Education is freedom, she'd say. Knowledge is power. No one can take that away from you. I threw myself into academics. Straight A's were not just marks anymore. They became evidence proof that I was not broken, not sick, not wrong. Alina showed me how to write grants, find scholarships, navigate systems designed to help kids like me, those from tough backgrounds who needed another chance. You're going to do something extraordinary someday, she said over dinner one night. Pasta and salad, simple, safe. Sometimes I thought about my old family, wondering if Madison ever revealed the truth to them, if Dad ever regretted his cruel words, if Mom ever stood up for me. Mostly, though, I pushed them out of my mind. Through mutual acquaintances, I caught snippets. Madison was thriving, still the golden child, still center stage. My parents had erased every photo of me from their home, as if I'd never existed. Good. Let them pretend I never was. I was building something far better. By my senior year, I had a clear goal. College, major in education policy, create solutions for kids who slip through the cracks. I wanted to understand why some children received help, while others disappeared into wide, unforgiving gaps. Summers were spent interning at nonprofits, grant-writing organizations, and youth advocacy groups. I learned how funds flowed, how programs got started, how to channel compassion into real change. Graduating summa cum laude, Alina wept quietly at the ceremony. "I'm so proud of you," she murmured, voice thick with emotion. I landed a job right away as a research coordinator in the education department of Alina's university. Different building, more professional distance, but the connection remained. When I was 25, an idea sparked a scholarship for students from challenging family situations. Kids kicked out, abused, neglected, who deserved a second shot. I named it the Second Chances Scholarship. Not the most original, but perfectly clear. Alina helped draft the grant proposals. We secured backing from 3 organizations, launched the pilot program at a single university, then expanded to 2, then 5. By 27, over $200,000 had been awarded in scholarships. 47 students had stayed in school, stayed alive, stayed hopeful. Media interest grew: local papers, education journals. I gave interviews, spoke at conferences, always sharing my story vaguely. A 15-year-old girl told she didn't belong. Never names, never specifics. Then one day, my colleague David Brooks knocked on my office door. "Olivia, you're being considered as the keynote speaker for a graduation ceremony." "Which university?" I asked, heart sinking. "Riverside State University." I stopped, took a breath. "That's my sister's school." David blinked. "You have a sister." "Not anymore," I said quietly. "But yes, she's graduating this spring." He took a seat. "Want me to decline for you?" I stared down at my desk, at the stacks of scholarship applications: 47 students, 47 second chances. "What's the theme?" I asked. "Resilience and educational equity." "President Walsh specifically requested you. Your work embodies everything this ceremony should represent." My work, the scholarship program born from rejection, from being labeled sick. Would I have full creative control over my speech? Completely. "They just want you there." I pictured Madison in her cap and gown, smiling as she boasted about her perfect family, her supportive parents, being the only child. I thought about my parents in the audience, proud, oblivious, still convinced. They had done the right thing 13 years ago. I imagined standing on that stage, sharing my story, not for spite, but for closure. "I need to talk to Alina," I said. That evening, over dinner, I laid my thoughts bare. They have no clue I exist like this. They don't know I built this. They probably think I'm dead, homeless, or I stopped. I don't know what they think. Alina set down her fork. "What do you want to happen?" "I want to close this chapter right, not with anger, but with truth. And if it hurts them, they hurt me first." I met her gaze. "This isn't revenge. It's because my story matters. Because showing them who I became despite everything, that's not vindictive. It's honest." Alina reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Then do it. On your terms, head held high. Show them who you are now." The next morning, I called David. "Tell President Walsh I accept." I didn't see Madison in person, but through social media, she was visible like a ghost. Her senior year was chronicled in filtered images and carefully crafted captions, brunches with friends, study sessions that looked like photo shoots, the perfect college life. "Can't believe I'm graduating in 2 months," one caption read. "So grateful for my parents, who supported me every step of the way." "Blessed family first." Comments flooded in. "You're amazing. So proud of you. Your parents raised you right." I scrolled her profile once, just once, driven by morbid curiosity. No photos of me, no mention of a sister. In her digital world, I never existed. One post caught my eye: Madison at dinner with our parents. All smiles, wine glasses raised. Celebrating my graduation with the two best people in the world. "Love you, Mom and Dad." Dad looked older, graying at the temples. Mom appeared tired, but they looked happy, proud. I closed the app. From old acquaintances, people I'd known before everything fell apart, I learned Madison was excited about graduation. A big ceremony, all her friends there, a party thrown by our parents afterward. The keynote speaker is supposed to be really good. A friend posted in a group chat I was still accidentally part of. Some researcher who started a scholarship program. "Should be inspiring," Madison replied. Those speeches are always so boring, but whatever, it's my day." I smiled at that, took a screenshot, saved it, not for revenge, just proof that she had no idea what was coming. Would she recognize me? 13 years was a lifetime. I had changed, grown up, become someone completely different. We'd see. For 2 weeks, I worked on my speech drafting, revising, cutting, adding, reading it aloud to Alina countless times. "Don't mention names," she advised. "Tell the story. Let people connect the dots themselves." The speech began with statistics: educational inequity, students lost within systemic gaps. Then it turned personal. At 15, I was told I didn't belong, that something was wrong with me, that I was too broken to keep. I practiced in front of the mirror, keeping my expression calm, composed, professional. But someone saw potential instead of problems. Someone gave me a second chance, and that changed everything. No tears, no anger, just the facts, just the truth. David handled all the logistics: sparking, credentials, my name in the program. Olivia Sterling, director of the Second Chances Scholarship Program. The night before, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Madison, Dad's voice branding me the sick daughter, Mom turning away. Was I doing this for the right reasons? Alina knocked softly, entered with tea, and sat beside my bed like she had so many times before. "Second thoughts?" she asked gently. "Just thoughts. You're not the girl they threw away, Olivia. You're the woman who rebuilt herself. Remember that tomorrow." I sipped the chamomile with honey. "Will you be there?" "Front row always." Morning arrived too fast. I dressed meticulously, a navy suit, professional yet approachable. Around my neck, Alina's grandmother's pearl necklace, which she had insisted I borrow. In the mirror, I looked confident, successful, Nothing like the soaked 15-year-old who had been told she was sick. I was ready. The campus was stunning old brick buildings, manicured lawns, students in caps and gowns everywhere, families snapping photos, laughter, anticipation. The air buzzed with possibility. I arrived early and met President Walsh in his office. He was warm and enthusiastic. MS. Sterling, we're honored to have you. Your work is extraordinary. Thank you, sir. I hope the students find it inspiring. David then escorted me to the auditorium, where backstage reigned in controlled chaos. Faculty members adjusted their gowns, staff tested microphones, and graduates peeked nervously from behind the curtains as the seats steadily filled. I studied the program, scanning the list of names. There it was, third row. Madison Sterling, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. My heart thumped fiercely against my chest. You okay? David asked. Yes, I folded the program carefully. Just ready. Alina arrived then, dressed in a stunning emerald gown, radiating pride. She embraced me tightly. You've got this. I know. Remember that. I do. I smiled, lifting my chin with clarity and honesty, no bitterness, no revenge. She kissed my cheek and went to find her seat. The auditorium was becoming crowded, the buzz of voices swelling. Hundreds of people, families, friends, all gathered to honor their graduates. Somewhere in that crowd, my parents were probably seated in the center, with a perfect view, thrilled for Madison's moment. Unaware of the keynote speaker's identity. David had confirmed it. My name was listed in the program, but hidden in small print. Most attendees wouldn't scrutinize the speaker bios. They'd discover soon enough. President Walsh touched my shoulder. 5 minutes. You're up after the opening remarks. I nodded, exhaled deeply, smoothed my jacket. From the wings, the stage stretched before me, the podium, microphone, and hundreds of faces, fading into the darkness beyond the lights. It was time. Wait. Before I share what unfolded the moment I stepped on stage, tell me, have you ever been doubted by your family, only to prove them wrong? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit the like button. It really helps others who need to hear it find this story. Now, back to the ceremony. Everything shifted here. President Walsh approached the podium. The audience hushed. Welcome graduates, families, and honored guests. Today, we celebrate achievement, resilience, and the limitless potential of our students. Applause and cheers followed. Our keynote speaker embodies these values. She has devoted her career to making sure every student, no matter their background, gains access to opportunity. Please welcome the director of the Second Chances Scholarship Program, MS. Olivia Sterling. Polite applause filled the auditorium. I stepped forward into the spotlight. The stage felt enormous, the podium centered, the microphone ready. Beyond the front row, faces merged into a sea of caps and gowns. I advanced with steady, measured steps, composed, confident. My heels clicked against the stage's wooden floor. Then I spotted them, row 3, Madison, wearing her cap and gown, honor cords draped around her neck. She clapped, smiling, then leaned sideways to whisper to the girl beside her. Then she looked up, our eyes met. Her hands froze mid-clap, her smile faded, confusion crossing her expression. Recognition dawned, then shock, her mouth slightly parted but silent. Behind her, in row 8, Mom and Dad clapped mechanically, not looking closely, yet just polite audience members applauding a speaker whose name they hadn't registered. I reached the podium, adjusted the microphone, and scanned the crowd. Madison's pale face remained fixed in wide-eyed stare. Her friend nudged her. You okay? Alina sat front row on stage right, giving a single encouraging nod. I gripped the edges of the podium. Good morning. Thank you, President Walsh, for that kind introduction. My voice carried clear, strong, amplified for the hundreds gathered. Dad's head snapped up. I saw him lean forward, squinting, trying to place the voice. Mom's hand flew to her chest. I offered a warm, professional smile. It's an honor to be here today. Today, I want to speak about resilience, about what happens when you lose everything and still find yourself. The audience fell silent, attentive. Let me tell you about a 15-year-old girl. My tone stayed steady, conversational. She was told she didn't belong, that she was flawed beyond repair, too broken to keep. Mom gripped Dad's arm tightly. I could see it even from my place on stage. One night during a fierce storm, she was cast out, told to leave. She was unwanted. Uncomfortable whispers rippled through the crowd. Some shifted uneasily. For hours, she wandered that storm alone. No phone, no money, nowhere to go. She was struck by a car and nearly died. Madison had gone utterly still, frozen, her face drained of color. But someone stopped, someone helped, someone saw promise where others only saw trouble. Eleanor's eyes shone, proud. That person became her family, her mentor, her mother in every way that mattered. I paused, letting the words settle. That 15-year-old girl was me. The auditorium fell silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Dad rose halfway, but Mom pulled him back down, both staring, mouths agape. Madison seemed like she wished she could vanish through her seat. Around her, students whispered and pointed. Her friends wore confused, concerned expressions. I'm here today because Dr. Eleanor Smith, I gestured toward Eleanor, didn't give up on me when my own family did. She showed me that rejection isn't the end. It's a beginning. The whispers swelled, spreading like wildfire. The Second Chances Scholarship grew out of that experience. It exists for students told they are not enough, who have been discarded, abandoned, cast aside. I locked eyes with Madison, making sure she saw me clearly. Being rejected doesn't define you. What matters is what you do afterward. Today, that scholarship has supported 47 students. My voice remained steady and clear. Students like the girl I once was. A woman's voice rose from the back. Is that really her family? I kept my professionalism unshaken. I learned something important in the years that followed the storm. Family isn't always about biology. Sometimes, it's those who choose you when others walk away. Eleanor wiped her eyes and smiled at me. I learned that you don't need everyone believing in you. You only need one person, one who sees beyond the surface, beyond the accusations and lies. Madison's face crumpled. She looked down, shoulders trembling. Her friends had stopped whispering, now staring at her, piecing things together. I learned, I said, gripping the podium, that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful in spite of them. Dad's hands trembled. He appeared like he wanted to flee. Mom sat crying quietly, mascara streaked down her face. So, to the graduating class of Riverside State University, I leave you with this. Your worth is not measured by who remains. It's measured by how you grow after they leave. I paused again, letting it sink in. You will face rejection, disappointment, and those who underestimate you. That's guaranteed. I surveyed the sea of graduates' young faces filled with hope. But it's up to you to decide what comes next. You choose who you become. The standing ovation started slowly, then grew, students rising, faculty, families joining in. Not everyone stood. Dad stayed seated, pale, hands covering his face. Mom clapped mechanically, tears streaming down her cheeks. Madison remained frozen, staring at her lap. I stepped back from the podium as President Walsh beamed. Thank you, MS. Sterling. That was powerful. I exited the stage and returned to the wings, finally breathing out. The ceremony continued. President Walsh resumed calling names. I stayed backstage, watching through the narrow gap in the curtains. The atmosphere had shifted. Students crossed the stage for their diplomas, but the applause was distracted, and uneven. The crowd was still digesting my speech talking, pointing, checking phones. Madison Sterling, Bachelor of Arts, Communications. Madison rose and walked to the stage. Her smile was tight and forced. Her hands trembled as she accepted her diploma. Applause was sparse, scattered. Some cheered enthusiastically, probably her close friends, but others simply watched in silence, whispering. She hurried off stage and melted into the throng of graduates. I saw her friends gather around her, speaking urgently, Madison shaking her head, trying and failing to explain something. Mom and Dad sat motionless, silent, staring straight ahead. After all names had been called, President Walsh closed the ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Caps flew, cheers erupted, families surged forward. I slipped out a side door and met a leaner in the reception hall outside the auditorium. "You did it," she said, pulling me into a tight hug. "I did," I paused, reflecting. "How do you feel?" "Free," David appeared then. "Olivia, wow." He looked flustered. I had no idea. "Your family, are you okay?" "I'm fine. They want to see you." "Who?" "Your parents." "They're at the side entrance." "They want to talk." My stomach clenched. "Do I have to?" David shook his head. "Absolutely not. I can get security." "Can no," I straight. "I'll talk to them. On my terms." 5 minutes. "That's all." Alina squeezed my hand. "I'll be right here." I walked toward the side entrance, toward the family I had left behind 13 years ago. They stood near a pillar. Dad's face was ashen. Mom's makeup was smudged. Madison lingered behind them, eyes red-rimmed. I stopped about 3 feet away, keeping a professional distance. "You wanted to talk." Dad's mouth opened, then closed. "Olivia, we didn't know you'd be here." "I'm sure you didn't. You look," Mom's voice cracked, "you look well." "I am well." "Doctor." Smith made sure of that. Alina had followed me, standing just behind, protective. Dad's eyes flicked to her, then quickly away. "We owe you an apology. You owe me far more than that." My voice remained calm and steady. An apology marked the beginning. "We were wrong," Mom admitted. "A dreadful error. We should have listened. You deserved our protection." That's what parents do, they shield their children. I kept my hands relaxed at my sides, refusing to fold my arms or shut myself off. You believed Madison's lie instead of my truth. You labeled me as sick and cast me out into the storm. Madison flinched, tears tracing down her cheeks. "We were mistaken," Dad's voice cracked. "I was mistaken. I have Olivia now. Every day for 13 years, I've regretted that night. The word good hung between us, sharp and cold." "Can we have a talk?" Mom reached out towards me. "Privately, as a family." "We are not a family," I replied softly, not harshly, just plainly. "You made that clear 13 years ago." But Dad's voice turned desperate. "We can repair this. We want to make it right. Please, there's nothing left to fix. You chose. I made my choice. This is over." Madison's voice came low and fragile. "Olivia, I'm sorry. I was just 12. I was foolish. I didn't understand. You were old enough to know what you were doing." David showed up with a folder. "Olivia, these are scholarship applications for next semester. President Walsh insisted you have them before you leave." He slipped the folder into my hands. Official university letterhead, my name, my title, images of past recipients, testimonials. Dad's eyes locked on it. "You really pulled all this together?" "Yes, despite everything." Mom took the folder delicately, flipping it open. She paled. 200 students, 47 so far, and we're growing. You're a director, senior director as of last month. I took the folder back. I collaborate with 5 universities. We've awarded over $200,000 in scholarships to students facing hardships. President Walsh joined us, completely unaware of the tension. MS. Sterling, that was the finest keynote we've had in years. The students are still buzzing about it. Thank you, President Walsh. He turned to my parents. Are you Olivia's family? You must be so proud. Silence stretched. We are, Eleanor said smoothly. Aren't you, mister? Sterling, Dad's jaw twitched. Yes, very proud. President Walsh smiled broadly. MS. Sterling is one of our most treasured partners. Her program has literally changed lives, saved some kids. He shook my hand and walked away. Dad stared at me, really took me in. We never knew. You never asked. My voice remained soft, free of anger, merely fatigued. You erased me, acted like I never existed. Why would you know? I tried to find you, Mom whispered. After the hospital, you disappeared. I legally changed my name, made it harder. I needed you not to find me. I needed space to heal. Did you? Dad asked. Heal, yes, but not because of you. 3 of Madison's friends came over, uneasy. Madison, one of them said, placing a hand on her arm. Is it true? Is she really your sister? Madison nodded, unable to speak. You said you were an only child. I know, you told everyone your sister died. Another's voice was icy. Last year, you said she died in a car crash when you were 12. I raised my eyebrows. You told them I was dead. Madison's face flushed crimson. I did. It was easier than explaining. Explaining what? The first friend demanded. That your family kicked her out, that you lied about her. It wasn't like that. Then how was it? The third friend looked at me. I'm sorry. I truly am sorry this happened to you. Thank you, I said quietly. They walked away. Madison stood alone, watching them go. Madison, Mom began. Don't, Madison's voice was sharp. Just don't. She looked at me, really looked. So many times I wanted to tell them. To tell everyone the truth, but I was afraid. Afraid of what? That they'd hate me. That everyone would hate me. She wiped her eyes. They deserved to. I deserve that. I stepped closer. Madison, I don't hate you. I forgive you, for my own peace, not for yours. But I don't want a relationship. I need you to honor that. Can't we just know, firm? Clear. For 13 years, you made choices to keep lying, to keep erasing me. That's not childish ignorance. That's who you became, Madison sobbed. Mom pulled her into an embrace. I looked at Eleanor. Can we go? Yes, she linked her arm with mine. Let's go home. We walked away without looking back. Behind us, I heard Madison crying, her dad murmuring my name weakly, desperately. I kept going. I need to pause here for a moment. That instant, when Madison realized her web of lies couldn't protect her anymore, it took 13 years. If you've ever had to enforce boundaries with toxic family, leave a comment. Boundaries matter. If this story strikes a chord with you, please subscribe. I share these because someone out there needs to hear them. Now, hear us what unfolded in the weeks after. The week following graduation, my phone incessantly buzzed. Voicemails from Dad pleading, please call back. We need to talk. I'm so sorry. We're sorry. Just please. Emails from Mom, long and rambling with apologies and excuses. We were under immense stress. Madison was going through a phase. We didn't know what we were doing. I didn't reply, not yet. Work kept me occupied. Scholarship applications flooded in. The ceremony had caught fire online. Not the whole thing, just my speech. Someone had recorded it and shared it on social media. 50,000 views. Then an email arrived from one of Madison's former friends, subject line, "You deserve to know." Inside were screenshots of group chats where Madison's friends distanced themselves from her. One message stood out. I can't believe she lied about her sister being dead. That's insane. Another read. I'm uninviting her from my wedding. I don't want any drama. Madison's carefully built social life was unraveling. Part of me felt a flicker of pity, but mostly I felt nothing but relief. Elena and I had dinner quiet, comfortable. "How are you processing all this?" she asked. I paused. I don't know. I searched for the right word. Free. Like I finally dropped a weight I didn't even realize I carried. You handled it with grace, Olivia. They want to reconcile. Do you? I thought long and hard. No, I don't think so. She nodded and squeezed my hand. That's okay. It's okay to walk away. 2 weeks later, Dad showed up at my office. My assistant buzzed. Olivia, there's a Mr. Sterling here. He doesn't have an appointment but says he's your father. My stomach tightened. Give me 5 minutes, then send him in. I closed my laptop, tidied my desk, and took a breath. Dad entered looking a decade older, graying hair, lines etched around his eyes, shoulders stooped. Thank you for seeing me, he said. I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I understand. He sat stiffly, like it was a job interview. Olivia, I have to say this. We were wrong. I was wrong. What I did to you, what I said, it was unforgivable. Yes, it was. Madison finally told us the truth last week. She broke down, confessed everything. The lies, the manipulation, all of it. 13 years too late. His hands trembled as he clasped them together. But I want you to understand, we've been drowning in guilt. Every single day, we see that empty room, the photos we took down. We know we destroyed something that can never be restored. You're right. It can't be. Can you forgive us? I leaned back and thought. Forgiveness isn't the problem, Dad. Trust is, and that's shattered. You believed Madison's lies over my truth. You called me sick. You sent me out into a storm. I know. You don't know. My voice stayed calm, quiet. You don't know what it's like to be 15, homeless in a storm, told by your own father that you're too broken to be loved. You'll never know. Tears streamed down his face. What can I do? Tell me what I can do. Nothing. There's nothing you can do. It's too late. 3 days after, I received an email from Madison, subject, I'm sorry. I almost deleted it, finger hovering over the trash, but curiosity won. Olivia, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I don't deserve your attention. But I need to say this. I was jealous, terribly jealous, of you. You were smart and capable, and people liked you effortlessly. I had to fight for every scrap of attention I got, and it was never enough. You were always better. When Jake liked you instead of me, I snapped. I set the whole thing in motion. The screenshots, the bruise, everything. I knew Mom and Dad would believe me. They always did. I didn't think it would go as far as Dad throwing you out. When I saw you walking into the storm, I felt sick, but I was too scared, too proud to take it back. I've spent 13 years lying to everyone, to myself. I told people you were dead, because it was easier than admitting what I did. I destroyed your life, I know that, and my own too. I have no real friends now, no one trusts me. I lost my job offer because someone at graduation told HR about my family. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just want you to know. I'm sorry. So sorry. I read it twice, saved it, but didn't reply. 4 days later, more emails came, one after another, each more desperate, more broken. After the 5th, I responded briefly and firmly. Madison, I accept you were young, but you had 13 years to make it right. You chose to keep erasing me. I forgive you for my own peace, but I want no contact. Please respect that. She stopped writing. The response to my speech spread far beyond what I had anticipated. A local news station reached out, wanting to interview me about the scholarship program. I agreed, but only if the focus stayed on the students, not my personal story. When the segment aired, it highlighted the Second Chances program helping students in crisis, featuring interviews with 3 scholarship recipients. One girl said, "This program saved my life." Literally. I was about to drop out. MS. Sterling's team gave me hope. After the broadcast, applications tripled, funding requests poured in, and 3 more universities wanted to partner. Education journals called, asking if I would write about our methodology. A national conference invited me to speak on equity and education, closing the gap. David knocked on my office door. "You're famous now." "How does it feel?" "Weird," I said. "I just wanted to help some kids." "You're doing more than that," he said. "You're changing systems." The State Board of Education sent a commendation recognizing my outstanding contribution to educational equity. Through it all, I saw the ripple effects. Madison's social media went quiet, no more posts, and eventually her accounts went private. Dad sent one final email, "We're proud of you, even if we have no right to be." I didn't respond. Mom tried calling once. I didn't answer. Old family friends reached out on LinkedIn with awkward messages. "Heard about your work." "So impressive." "Maybe we could catch up." I declined politely. Meanwhile, Alina was accepted as a keynote speaker at a national conference. "Come with me," she said, "as my guest and colleague." "I'd love to." We flew to Chicago, presented together, stayed in a nice hotel, and talked about everything except my biological family. "You've built a good life," Alina said over dinner. "You should be proud." "I am," I told her, "because of you." She shook her head. "No, because of you. I just gave you a chance. You did the rest." 1 year after Madison's graduation, my life looked completely different. The Second Chances Scholarship was now at 10 universities. We helped 83 students stay in school, stay alive, stay hopeful. I was promoted to senior director, got a corner office, a raise, and recognition from people whose names I'd only read in textbooks. I dated someone, a kind man, named Marcus, who worked in public policy. It didn't work out, but it ended amicably. I was learning that not all endings had to be painful. Alina turned 60. We threw a party. Colleagues, friends, students she'd mentored over the years, people who loved her, chose her, built family around her. I gave a toast to the woman who taught me that family is built, not born. "Thank you for choosing me," she cried, happy tears. I thought about my biological family sometimes. Not often, not painfully, just thoughts. Wondering where they were, if Madison had gotten help, if Dad still sent unanswered emails. They sent a Christmas card with no return address, just signatures. Richard, Patricia, Madison. No message, no explanation. I put it in a drawer, didn't throw it away, didn't respond, just acknowledged it existed. I spoke at another graduation, a different university, different students, but a similar message. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors you control. Afterward, a young woman approached me, 20 years old, tearful. That was my story, too. My family kicked me out at 16. I thought I was alone. "You're not alone," I told her. "You're surviving." "That's more than enough." She hugged me tight. "Thank you." I drove home that evening to the house I shared with Alina, my real mother, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. People ask if I regret that night. The storm, the pain, the hospital. I do. Because it led me here. To this life. This work. This family I chose. Not every story has a happy ending like mine. I know that. I'm lucky. Doctor. Alina Smith found me, chose me, saved me. Not everyone gets that. But everyone gets to set boundaries. Everyone gets to decide who has access to them. You don't owe toxic people your presence. Not even if they're family. especially not if they're family. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. You can forgive someone for your own peace while still keeping them out of your life. Those aren't contradictory. They're both necessary sometimes. I learned that blood doesn't make family. Choice does. Consistency does. Showing up does. Alina showed up every single day for 13 years. She earned the title mom. My biological parents, they showed up once, failed, never tried again. That tells you everything. I learned that success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about building something meaningful despite them. The scholarship program wasn't revenge. It was purpose. It was turning my pain into something that helps others. That's the difference. Revenge seeks to hurt. Purpose seeks to heal. I learned that your worth isn't determined by who stays. It's determined by how you grow after they leave. Some people will always underestimate you, reject you, tell you you're too broken, too sick, too much, or not enough. That's their limitation, not yours. You get to decide what happens next. You get to choose who you become. I chose to become someone who helps kids like me, kids who need a second chance, kids who deserve to know they're worth saving. That's my legacy. Not the family that threw me away, but the family I built afterward. So that's my story. The storm that almost destroyed me became the catalyst for everything I built. I'm 28 now, the same age as when I started telling you this, but I feel older, wiser, whole. My parents' names are still in my phone. I haven't deleted them, but I haven't called either. They exist in my past, not my present, and definitely not my future. Madison sends me a message every few months, short and apologetic. Thinking of you, hope you're well. I read them but don't respond. Maybe someday I will, maybe not. Either way is okay. Doctor. Alina Smith is mom now, not doctor. Smith, just mom. She's the emergency contact on every form. The person I call when something good happens. The one whose opinion matters. Blood didn't make her my mother. Choice did. 13 years of showing up, believing in me, loving me when I couldn't love myself. That's family. Every year on October 15th, the anniversary of that storm, I drive past my old house. Not to punish myself. Not to wallow. Just to remember. I park across the street, look at those windows, that door, and think, that girl survived. She survived being called sick, being thrown away, being told she was too broken to love. And she didn't just survive. She thrived. If you're in a storm right now, metaphorical or real, know this. You can survive it. You can even thrive after it. Just because someone gives up on you doesn't mean you give up on yourself. Set your boundaries. Choose your family. Build your purpose. And never, ever let anyone tell you you're too sick, too broken, or too much. You're exactly enough. Thank you for listening. You matter. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. If this story helped you in any way, please hit that like button and subscribe. Your support helps these stories reach others who need to hear them. And if you want more stories like this, check the description below. I've linked similar videos there. Remember, you define your worth, nobody else. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next story.